Time now for today's KSAT Q&A. We are joined by San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg to talk about a lot of various topics happening within the city. Mayor, thanks for being here.
Great to be with you. Sorry for the technical difficulty.
That's all right. You're here now, and that's what counts. So we got a thing coming our way, this total solar eclipse. We have talked a lot about how towns in the hill country have been preparing for this, but a good chunk of San Antonio is in that path of totality, expected to get a lot more people headed that way. What about preparations for the parts of our city that applies to, especially, you know, the northwest side? Anything like increased patrols or anything as far as emergency management goes?
Now, obviously, we are going to be monitoring throughout the day before and certainly during Monday in terms of the solar eclipse activity. We expect a lot of additional traffic leading up to it. But we really want people to be safe most of all. So we're getting information out mostly about eye safety. Make sure you're wearing certified glasses. If people need glasses for the solar eclipse, they can pick them up at any of our public libraries. We also want to make sure that people have a safe viewing area. So don't be tempted to pull over the side of the road and view the eclipse. Make sure you have a safe location to view the eclipse and get there a little bit early. Of course, again, the most important thing being eye safety. Take care of your eyes. This is hopefully the weather will cooperate. It will be a fun day. But we also want people to be safe.
No concerns, though, about runs on gasoline or, traffic or those kind of things in San Antonio itself.
We don't anticipate that. And certainly we have been through those kinds of social media infused issues before. But we think that, again, if people are just going about their business and making for extra time to get where they need to go, make sure that they are taking care of their own personal safety, we should be quite all right. But obviously, we're going to monitor the situation and just leave for a little bit of extra time for travel to where you're going.
All right, from the Sun to the Spurs right now, Mr. Mayor, I want to talk about the very latest. Obviously, talks ongoing on the possibility of a new home for the Spurs in downtown San Antonio, possibly Hemisphere. I know that there's some movement going on with the Institute of Texan Cultures. What's the very latest that you can tell us on this?
Well, what I can share with you is that we have been engaged by UTSA to help with the ITC situation. In fact, the ITC is going to be at a different location. I think those discussions have moved along quite well. Obviously, this entire community, myself as a fan, but also as a mayor, is very interested in the future of the Spurs. And so we have had some discussions about what the Spurs are looking at in the future. There's a great anticipation, obviously, with the success of the Spurs of recent times, but also where that organization clearly is headed back to the upper echelons of the NBA again. And San Antonio has continued to show itself as the very backbone of the Spurs organization with investments like what we've seen in the Frost Bank Center and then the Rock, which is the state-of-the-art facility and Human Performance Institute. So we're actively engaged in the situation. Nothing to share at this moment, but suffice it to say, we are very interested in making sure that the Spurs are a successful part of San Antonio for the foreseeable future.
If we zoom out a little bit beyond the Spurs, I mean, obviously the Missions have new ownership. They're looking for a baseball stadium somewhere possibly downtown. I mean, is this sort of a downtown-centric vision that you would like to see, that both of these parks move into downtown? I mean, there are cities across the country struggling with how to keep their downtowns viable and revitalized. And I don't think San Antonio necessarily has that problem, but is this a hedge against that in future years?
I wouldn't look at it as a hedge. What I would tell you is that the downtown urban core of any major city, San Antonio included, is extremely important for the quality of life for local residents. And we are viewing all the activity downtown as a very positive thing. As you know, UTSA is building a downtown campus. The Alamo is seeing an incredible redevelopment. There is long-awaited street reconstruction and repair happening. Downtown is a center of economic activity, and it's it's the lifeblood of a city's economy. So when we talk about what some of these major venues are going to be seeing over the next several years, we include obviously the convention center, which is a big part of our economy, the activity that's happening at the Alamo Dome. We want to look at this in a comprehensive way. When it comes to major sporting venues, having it nearby and accessible to as many people in the community as possible, i.e. an urban core downtown geography, is extremely important and beneficial. And so if the Spurs are going to be in a different arena in the future, we hope it's going to be in the downtown area. So we're actively engaged in those kinds of conversations conceptually. There's nothing to share at the moment. And that is true of other sporting events and major sports franchises. If there's going to be a new home for the San Antonio Missions, we hope it's in the urban core. We know there has to be a new home for the San Antonio Missions because Major League Baseball has much higher standards than the current Nelson Wolff Stadium currently meets. So a lot of these discussions are ongoing. I have no details to share with you, but I can tell you that we are not sitting on our hands with regard to the future of downtown or the future of our major sporting franchises in the city. And I long have believed that San Antonio's future is very bright when it comes to these major economic indicators like the presence and success of sports in our city. Our city is growing. Our city is diversifying economically. People are choosing to live here and to invest here. And the success and location of sports franchises are a big part of the future of that trajectory.
So as the parts keep moving, we will certainly keep asking about any updates that you can share. I want to talk about some other changes that I know may not be as exciting as baseball and basketball, but charter amendments, changes to the city charter that voters would ultimately have to approve, just as important. So where are we in that process of making those recommended changes?
First, I'd just like to emphasize one thing that you said, Myra, because there's a lot of speculation and discussion about the Charter Review Commission. It is any changes that are made to our city charter have to go before voters to approve them. The Charter Review Commission is something that I pulled together by ordinance. I'm required to stand up that Charter Review Commission if there's going to be any reviews of our charter, which they are doing right now. I've asked them to look at a number of things that have come up in conversations over the last several years, including what I think is not a good situation for the future competitiveness and management of delivery of city services, which is a tenure cap and salary cap on our city manager. They're also looking at things like an independent redistricting committee to draw political boundaries, a lot of different aspects. The thing I want to emphasize beyond what you said, which is any change has to be voter approved, is that the things that are currently being speculated on in terms of recommendations are not yet recommendations. The Charter Review Commission is having public meetings, and so all those discussions are being out in the open and people are drawing their own conclusions. But until the Charter Review Commission actually delivers a written set of recommendations to the City Council, which will happen on June 14th, they are just merely conversations and speculation. So anything that you've seen as, well, City Council may consider salaries at certain levels and things like that, that is all speculation. We have to wait till the actual recommendations are made to the City Council. So people can look at what they're discussing through obviously media reports and then the Charter Review Commission website. But I would encourage everyone to be on the lookout starting in June for the actual City Council discussions to begin.
Yeah, nothing's set in stone yet. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time. Always appreciate it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.